What if the key to unlocking divine consciousness wasn't found in cathedrals or sermons, but in a buried scroll hidden for centuries beneath the Egyptian sands? In 1945, in a cave near Nag Hammadi, a farmer unearthed a clay jar. Inside it, not treasure, not gold, but something far more dangerous to the status quo: forbidden wisdom. Among the ancient texts, one stood apart: the Gospel of Thomas, a gospel that claims to contain the secret sayings of Jesus. Sayings that challenge everything we thought we knew. And here's the part they didn't teach you in church. Jesus doesn't preach sin and salvation. He speaks of awakening, of inner light, of a kingdom not in the sky, but within. So, what did Jesus really say? And why did these words vanish from mainstream Christianity? Tonight, we open the scroll. We step into the silence between the verses, and we listen to the lost words of the Christ. To understand the Gospel of Thomas, we must journey back, not just through time, but through layers of meaning deliberately buried beneath doctrine and dogma. The year is 1945. Near the desert town of Nag Hammadi in Egypt, a farmer named Muhammad al-Saman discovers a sealed earthenware jar. Inside, 13 leather-bound codices written in Coptic script. Among them lies a slim but explosive text, the Gospel of Thomas. Unlike the four canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, this Gospel contains no narrative, no miracles, no crucifixion or resurrection. Instead, it presents 114 mystical sayings or logia attributed directly to Jesus. No parables, no commentary, just pure transmission, like drops of light passed from master to disciple. Scholars were stunned, but not all were pleased. You see, this gospel didn't align with the theology of the early church fathers. It lacked the sacrificial narrative that became central to Orthodox Christianity. Even more unsettling, it spoke of divinity not as something external, but as something you awaken to within yourself. And here lies the controversy. The Gospel of Thomas is part of a tradition known as Gnosticism, a word derived from the Greek gnosis, meaning knowledge, but not knowledge of the intellect, knowledge of direct spiritual insight. The early Gnostics believed that salvation didn't come from blind belief, but from awakening to the divine spark already present within you. They taught that Jesus was a guide, a revealer of hidden truths, not a sacrifice to be worshipped, but a mirror reflecting what we can all become. No priest, no middleman, just you, your consciousness, and the living light within. This posed a threat to the emerging ecclesiastical structure. If you can access God directly, what need is there for the church's authority? So the Gospel of Thomas, along with many other Gnostic texts, was declared heretical, buried, banned, and nearly erased from history. But it survived, barely. And now, nearly 2,000 years later, its voice is rising again. And it begins not with a sermon, but with a riddle. These are the secret sayings which the living Jesus spoke, and Didymos Judas Thomas wrote down. And he said, "Whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death." Not read, but find the meaning. Not believe, but understand. This is not religion. This is revelation. Breakdown of key sayings. The Gospel of Thomas reads less like a story and more like a cipher, a cosmic code waiting to be deciphered by those ready to awaken. let's explore a few of these secret sayings, unraveling their mystical layers and discovering how they guide us to live not just in faith, but in direct experience of the divine. Saying 1. Jesus said, "Whoever finds the interpretation of these sayings will not experience death." At first glance, this sounds cryptic. What does "not experience death" truly mean? It's not about physical immortality, but a death of the ego, the false self that believes it's separate and finite. When you unlock these teachings, you awaken to your eternal nature, the undying consciousness beyond body and mind. The death of illusion is the birth of eternal awareness. Saying 3. Jesus said, "If those who lead you say to you, 'See, the kingdom is in the sky,' then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, 'It is in the sea,' then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside you, and it is outside you." Here, Jesus overturns the prevailing belief that heaven is somewhere up there. Instead, the kingdom is a state of consciousness. Think of the kingdom as a seed lying dormant within you. It is your hidden divine essence waiting to sprout. No external pilgrimage is needed, no second coming. The path is inward and outward through living in harmony with the world, connected to all that breathes. Saying 70, Jesus said, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This is a call to self-realization. The what is within you is your divine light, your authentic self. The salvation Jesus speaks of is not a destination, but a process. The continuous revelation and expression of your true nature. Suppress this inner light, and you risk living in darkness, disconnected, fearful, and fragmented. Practical technique: finding the kingdom within. To embody these teachings, close your eyes and ask yourself, where is the kingdom? Allow the mind to settle. Feel the silence beneath thought. Sense the presence of your inner light, the stillness, the life, the unshakable core. This isn't a mental exercise, but an invitation to experience your own divine center, the truth Jesus hinted at. These sayings are not ancient relics to be admired from a distance. They are keys to living a life of profound awakening here and now. The Gospel of Thomas is not about blind faith in doctrines. It is about direct experience, about reclaiming the divine heritage hidden inside you, waiting to be born. Why these words were lost and what it means for us today. Imagine a world where truth is power, where knowledge of your own divinity threatens the foundations of organized control. This is the hidden battlefield upon which the Gospel of Thomas was lost. In the early centuries of Christianity, competing visions clashed like titans. On one side, a religion centered on faith in a Savior's death and resurrection, ritual and institutional authority. On the other, a quiet but radical current emphasizing inner awakening and personal gnosis, knowledge beyond belief. The early church fathers, men like Irenaeus, Tertullian, and Origen, condemned Gnostic teachings as heresy. Why? Because they challenged the monopoly on salvation, threatening to dismantle the hierarchical structures that bound society. The Gospel of Thomas and similar texts were not destroyed by accident. They were purged, hidden, and silenced. But silence never lasts forever. Fast forward to the 20th century. The ancient texts surface, and with them, a resurgence of the ancient wisdom of awakening. So what does this mean for us today? In an age overwhelmed by information, distraction, and external validation, the Gospel of Thomas invites us back to a sacred truth: that divinity is not an outside reward, but an inner reality to be realized here and now. It dares us to reclaim our sovereignty over our spiritual journey, to bypass dogma and meet the living Christ within. This is not just a historical curiosity. It is a revolutionary awakening, reclaiming the lost teachings. Begin by questioning inherited beliefs, not with cynicism, but with curious discernment. Ask yourself, what parts of my spiritual path feel alive? What feels imposed or limiting? How can I cultivate my own inner knowing, the sacred gnosis that awakens the kingdom within? Through meditation, contemplation, and honest self-inquiry, you step into the role of both seeker and revealer. The lost words of Jesus, once hidden, are now a beacon, calling you to awaken from the trance of external authority and step into your birthright as a child of divine light. Closing reflections and call to action. As we stand at the crossroads of ancient wisdom and modern awakening, the lost words of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas offer us a luminous path forward. No longer confined to the dusty shelves of history or the rigid walls of tradition, these teachings beckon us to look inward, to the silent kingdom within, where truth is not taught but directly known. Remember this: the divine is not a distant God in the heavens, but the eternal presence in your heart, waiting to be awakened. The Gospel of Thomas is an invitation to a radical spiritual revolution, not through doctrine or dogma, but through experiential knowing. Meditate on the sayings. Let them resonate deep within, stirring the embers of your own divine spark. Question what you've been taught, not to reject, but to understand what truly lights your path. Seek the kingdom inside through silence, stillness, and presence. Share your insights, because awakening is a ripple that expands beyond the individual, touching the collective consciousness. The truth they didn't teach in church is not a secret anymore. It is a living fire, passed from soul to soul, ready to transform the world through each awakened heart. So ask yourself, are you ready to find the meaning behind the words? Are you prepared to taste the life beyond death, the eternal kingdom within? The lost words of Jesus are no longer lost. They are waiting for you. If this journey into ancient mysteries and hidden truths stirred something within you, like, share, and subscribe to keep uncovering the sacred wisdom that can change your life. Until next time, walk in the light within, and may your awakening be profound. Thank you for journeying with us into the hidden truths of the Gospel of Thomas. May the light of your own awakening continue to shine brightly. Until we meet again, walk in wisdom and be the truth you seek.